Hi everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back today with a bridal shower gift and card that I've made for my future daughter-in-law. So come on and join me, and I'm going to show you how I made this card and this little pillow box. Okay everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up my supplies so we can get started making the card. So now my card measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've taken and scored it in half to make it a 4.25 by 5.5 inch card. And the cardstock that I'm using is a Coordinations cardstock, and it's called Gemstones, and it looks similar to this. And I'm sorry for the glare, but some of the colors have like a pearl effect on the cardstock. So now one thing about this cardstock is it is heavy, and I noticed that when I folded it, it did somewhat crack here in the middle, but that's okay because then it makes it look like I have like a distressed look. So now what I want to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and get my corset put together and let that dry while we go ahead and add all of the top layer onto the card. So now what I've done is I've gone ahead and I designed my card once again using my gypsy, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see how I've designed the card. So this is what my card is going to look like, and the way I did this was I just went ahead once again and sorry about that people, I made or created a square which measures 5.5 by 4.25, and then I went ahead and picked my corset design, and the corset is from the Tie the Knot cartridge, and then I put my corset and my hanger on the square just so I could see how it was going to look on the card. So now let me go ahead and tell you what sizes I cut everything. So as I said, the corset is from the Tie the Knot cartridge, and it is on page 52, and it looks like this. So what I went ahead and did was I cut this at 4 inches. I cut out one of the corset, and then I cut out 2 of the corset and the shift key. So what you'll do is, let's go to that right now. So this is key 29. So what I did was I hit the shift key and then the corset key, which is 29, and it looks like this. So I cut out 2 of those, and then I just cut out one of just the corset itself, where you don't hit the shift key or any function key at all. And then I went ahead and I cut out 2 of the, as I said before, 2 of the shift key and the corset key. And then I cut 1 of the blackout. And the blackout would be, you hit your blackout button, which is right here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the blackout button. Okay, this is the blackout button. And then you hit key number 29, and that's what you get. So I've cut out 1 of those. And what I ended up getting was something similar to this. Now I've already gone ahead and put these 2 layers together, and this layer on top here is the actual corset, or on my gypsy it looks like that. It's that one right there. And then underneath is which is this layer underneath here. That is just my blackout. So now the other thing that I went ahead and did was I went and I took and ran it through my scripts folder, Cuttlebug folder, so that I would get this effect. So basically, I just took some coordination cardstock to cut out the blackout, and then I took some more of the pearl gemstone cardstock to cut out the corset top layer. So now, the reason why I went ahead and I cut out 2 of these, and I'm going to go to that so you can see what it looks like. I cut out 2 of those is because I wanted to make this a little heavy. So I went ahead and cut that like so. And I got this idea for this card from another YouTuber. I don't know her channel offhand, but I will put it up here in the description or somewhere in the video or in the description bar down there. So I've gone ahead and layered those 2 together, and this cardstock is the Reflections cardstock that I picked up at Michael's. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to lay this on top of here, and that's going to be my top layer. So I think what I'm going to do to lay this down, because this Coordinations gemstone paper is pretty thick, is I'm going to use some of my Scotch quick dry adhesive to go ahead and lay this out. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some. I'm going to need to go ahead and put that up. And I'm going to add some glue. And I'm just going to put just a small amount there because this glue does spread fast and it also dries quick. So I'm going to go ahead and just layer just a small amount throughout the whole corset. And I think that's about enough. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add that to the corset. So I'm going to line this up, and then I'm going to just press down. And this quick dry adhesive does dry pretty quick. So I'm going to go all the way around and across on my edges. And then I'm just going to put this aside so that it can dry. So let's go ahead and add our top layer to our card. So now my top layer, I got this cardstock in a paper pack, or this designer paper because it's just a thin paper, from a paper pack that's by DCWV, and it's called Bridal Shower. And it also came with some other paper in there for different holidays, and it was an 8x8 paper pack, and I got it at Big Lot. So this piece of paper measures 5 1/4 by 4, and I've gone ahead and inked my edges using the Positively Pink Stampin' Up! Ink. And I also inked the edges of the outside of the card using the same Positively Pink. So I'm going to take my ATG gun, and excuse me for my reach. And we're just going to go ahead and add this to the top of the card. And I'm using the ATG gun because, as I said before, this cardstock is pretty thick, and I want this to be able to stick down. So let's go ahead and add this to the card. But before I do that, I do want to add some ribbon. So I remembered before I went to go ahead and put this down. So now my ribbon is just a piece of ribbon, sheer ribbon, and it measures, let's see, 6.5 inches. And since I already have the tape on there, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to line up where I want this to go. And I've decided earlier that I wanted to lay right here on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay that across there. And then I'm going to fold over on one side first. And I'm actually, the way I'm measuring this out is I'm using the wording that's on the front of the card. And I remembered, without having to mark it with the pencil, that I wanted it to go across that wording right there. So basically all I have to do now is just take it and fold it over to the other side. And it doesn't matter that it's not even on the other side because you won't see that. Well, you're looking at it so you see it. So now we can just go ahead and lay down our paper. And I had to make sure that I cut this exactly right because it only came with one sheet of the bridal shower wording. So okay, so now that we have that on, the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add my little hanger. And I took the hanger and used some of the cardstock from the front of the corset. And this is that Recollections cardstock. And I cut out the hanger. The hanger is from the Straight from the Nest cartridge. And it is key number 20. So it looks like this on your gypsy. And in your handbook, it is on page 47. And it looks like this. And I cut that at 2 inches. And then what I did after, I actually cut 2 of them. And then once I had it cut out, I went ahead and took some glossy accents and put it across the top of the hanger. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this down for right now because I know I want the hanger to be about right there. So I've got my hanger lay on the card, and then I'm just going to line up and lay down my corset. Now I am going to pop this up using an action wobble. So right now I just want to just look at this and see if this is where I want it, which it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on my hanger using my 2-way zig pen. So I'm going to put my card up for here right now, and then I'm going to go ahead and get some glue on my hanger. And we just want to get all the way around. And it looks like my zig pen is drying out. Once again, I left the cap off. And I hate when I do that because then you end up wasting your pen. So now let's go ahead and add the hanger to the card, and I'm going to come right up to the top of the layer to add the hanger. And then I'm just going to go ahead and press down. So now what I'm ready to do is I'm ready to go ahead and add my corset. But first I need to go ahead and put my action wobble on. Now you can pick up these action wobbles at www.actionwobble.com, and I will put a link up here for where to pick up the action wobble. And I've used these before in some of my previous videos, so I'm not going to actually explain or go into any details as to how they work. So what we're going to do is basically I'm going to peel off the top layer first because that's the layer that has to go on my corset. So let's get the tape backing off. And I'm going to just lay it down here so I can see. Or actually, I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to put my action wobble right in the middle of the corset. So, and press down. So now that I know where I want my corset to lay on the card, I'm going to go ahead and peel off the base, which is the portion that we're going to go ahead and add to the card. So let's get the tape off of that. And then we can go ahead and I'm going to line up where I want my corset to lay on the hanger. And I think I want it to lay about right here. Like so. And then I'm just going to press down. So it looks like that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add the flower on the card. And actually, maybe I should have added 2 of them. Okay, everybody, I'm back, and what I ended up doing was I didn't like the way the action wobble was working with the corset, so I just took the action wobble off, and I ended up ripping the paper here, but because this is going to be covered, I'm not going to worry about it. So I decided instead to just go ahead and use some tape foam, and I'm just going to pop the corset up. And I think I like that much better. So I'm just going to move this ribbon up just a little bit here. So that's what I've done instead, rather than having the action wobble. And I believe it wasn't working for me because I made this so heavy that it just couldn't hold the corset. So I've gone ahead and done this instead. And I like this a lot better. So let's go ahead now and add our ribbon. Now, the ribbon, I went ahead and I got this at one of the dollar stores here. And it says that it's more like a corsage pin. So what I did was I cut off the base of this so that it wouldn't poke through. And I left the head pin on there because I kind of like that. And then I took some of my watercolor paints and some iridescent medium and colored in the flower. So I'm going to place that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and use my glue gun and get some glue on the back of the flower. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add it right there. So now the last thing I want to add to the front of the card is I want to go ahead and add my little ribbon for the bow for the hanger. And I made this bow using my Bow Easy. And I do have a tutorial on how to use the Bow Easy. And I will put that link up here in the video. So we just need to go ahead and add that right there at the top of the hanger. And once again, I'm going to get some glue on here with my glue gun. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add the ribbon right there. Like so. So now that we've got everything on the front of the card, just going to turn this ribbon real quick that way. I still say it needs something else. So you know what that is. We need some bling in here somewhere. But actually, I also want to put some pearls down here in the front. So I'm going to take some of the pearls that I picked up when I did the big CHA haul. and I'm going to add some pearls to the front. And here are my pearls. I've decided I'm going to add some white because I've got so much pink in this card. And actually my future daughter-in-law's favorite color is purple. I tell you, that purple is a color to like. But because I had this cardstock and this paper and it wasn't purple, I decided to go ahead and use it anyway. So now we've got our pearls on our corset. And I'm just going to add just a few down here. Or maybe not. I think that's enough. So I do have a sentiment that I've printed out and on my computer, and I've used my fleur-de-lis Spellbinders die once I printed it out on my computer, and it looks like this, to add to the inside of the card. And I'm not going to show that because it's a personal message to my future daughter-in-law. So this is my card that I've made. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.